Do you hate ads? I hate ads. You know what I love? Patreon.com/inkdependence, where patrons get access to a patron-only Discord, ad-free videos, and the joy of knowing they help support this channel. Hello folks, welcome to Ink Dependence. I'm Mike, and today I've got a cool pin to show you, and this is a pin from Piper Trading Company. It's called the Second Empire. But first, before we get into the pin stuff, I want to do some disclosures and all that sort of thing up top, because I know there's a lot of concern online about reviewers who get stuff for free or have relations to companies and all that sort of jazz, and I always want to be as honest and upfront as I possibly can. Now, I find myself to be, or at least I think I'm fairly objective about that sort of thing, and I try not to let that color my reviews. What you see is what I got. I'm not going to sugarcoat problems or issues with it. I'm going to tell you straight up the truth about stuff. So here are my connections to Piper Trading Company. Piper Trading Company is, I think I would say, a sub-brand of Franklin-Christoph, which is a brand that I've been friendly with for years and years and years. In fact, my wife works there. She is the nib expert at Franklin-Christoph, so she does almost all the nibs that come through Franklin-Christoph. That's sort of her jam. So they did also give me this pin for review because they knew that I would want to show it to y'all, and I probably wanted to get the word out as well. So look, there's that. That said, I don't take money for reviews. I promise nothing in terms of content except that I will be as honest as I can. They know that that's my thing, and they're into it too. So there's all disclaimers right up front. That's what's going on here. So let's talk about this pen. It is a pen that comes in at a really attractive price point. This pen, the Second Empire, in a whole bunch of different acrylics and that sort of thing, comes in at $95, which is pretty wild. I think for a pen like this from a small maker made in-house. That's pretty darn cool. It is available, as I said, in a whole bunch of acrylics. This one is from Turnt Pen Co., and it is called Bog Monster. Why is it called Bog Monster? I don't know. It doesn't look boggy or monstrous to me. Maybe this is clouds and boggy trees as you're flying over it in an airplane or something. I really don't know, but it is beautiful. I do really like the depth of color that you get here. Turnt Pen Co. makes some really good blanks and that sort of thing. Great chatoyance down here in the sort of misty, cloudy white areas. I think that's rad. I love the shimmer and the reflection you get out of the bluish, greenish, tealish areas there. The way that it mixes in. Really pretty acrylic. And there are a bunch of different options on the webpage for colors and that sort of thing. That said, these are all going to be, or at least this one anyway, is going to be a swirly sort of acrylic. And so you don't know exactly what the pattern's going to be. If you're going to buy a pen that's got swirly acrylics, you just kind of got to roll the dice. That's just the way it goes. And I hope that you like the one that you get, because that's important. But also, you just kind of got to, enjoy the surprise sometimes of what it's going to look like. I didn't know what this was going to look like when I ordered it either, despite the fact that I was like, hey, could I get one for review? And they're like, yeah, of course, we can do that. I didn't pick it, right? So here, that's what this thing looks like. It is a fairly standard sort of three-piece pen, as a lot of folks will call it. Cap, body, and section, and then of course a nib unit, which Franklin-Christoph doesn't make, but is tuned by Audrey or one of the other folks over there at Franklin-Christoph before it's sent out. Starting at the bottom here, you have a nice unadorned flat bottom down here. You also have a little ring here at the bottom where the finial would be, and up here at the top. But those are not, they don't go through or whatever. They're just, they're an engraved ring. There is nothing along the waist here. That is just where the cap sits. The only branding, in fact, on this pen, let's see, can I find it? Is right there. If you look where the light is shining, it says Piper. It's got a little Piper engraving right there, but pretty darn small. I actually appreciate that. I really like a pen that's got, maybe it's got the name on there or it's got a symbol or something, but one that isn't shouting the name of the thing. I like that in a pen. I don't like it to scream stuff. The top, likewise, polished but unengraved. When you open this pen up, actually, let's see how many turns it takes to open. How am I gonna do this? Doesn't have any markings. Wait, washi tape. Bam. Okay, so one. Oh, is it less than one? Oh, it's right about one turn to get the cap off, which is very nice. It does have these very small threads up here. They are near the nib there. They are not the big block Acme style threads that you'll get on most Franklin-Christophs. These are just regular old threads. They're small, but they're fairly they're fairly flat to the body there. And unless you are holding your nib right here, you're not going to notice them. And even then, they're not exactly uncomfortable. I mean, they're you know, they're threads, but they're not sharp or anything like that. You can see there's a bit of a step here. It's not a big step. There is a bit of a step there. So if you hold your pen in certain ways, you might have your fingers on the step. In fact, I usually kind of put my thumb sort of on it, and then my fingers here on the little hourglassy waist of the section there, and that gives me a really nice grip of the pen, and I like the way that it feels in my hand. It feels pretty good. The nibs for these pens are number 6 Yovo nibs. They have the Piper engraving there instead of the Franklin-Christoph one, but these are, as I said, all tuned by the Franklin-Christoph folks before they go out, so they'll write really nicely. And you can get these in all kinds of variations, from extra fine, fine, medium, broad, and 1.1 stub. You don't have all the options that Franklin-Christoph makes available on their pens, just to kind of, you know, keep the prices down and all that sort of jazz, but no sig nibs or italics and that sort of jazz on these pens. Just the standard Yovo nibs. So that is what is available on this. When you open this up, see, there's a standard international cartridge or converter system here. This is, of course, a converter for filling the pen with fountain pen ink from a bottle. You can also use cartridges, and those are like the standard international. Here's an empty one that I just took out of a pen because I replaced it. But these will all work in these pens just fine. It makes it a very versatile and easy to use system. It's actually my favorite filling system. I know there's ones that are out there that are way fancier, but that's one that I like a lot. All right, so let's talk about a few stats and that sort of thing, and we'll do a writing sample and look at it next to some other pens. So with the cap on here, we are looking at a length of 5.34 inches, which is 135.5 millimeters. Uncapped, we're looking at 4.99 inches according to my caliper. That's 126.61 millimeters, which is, I think, a perfectly fine length. And I mostly use it unposted when I'm writing with this pen. I often don't post it. It does post nice and securely, though. If you are a cap poster, you can do that, and it is 6.43 inches long when you do that. So a little under 6.5 inches, which is, I think, fairly typical for a pen like this. That's 163.3 millimeters. For my hands, that's totally fine. It doesn't stick out too much. The cap is light enough that it's not off balance. It feels okay. But if I had smaller hands, that would switch the fulcrum, and you might actually feel like it's a little bit back heavy. I don't know. I couldn't really tell you. I only have the size hands. This is the size hands I have. I don't have to tell you. But I don't really think you need to post it, but you can if you want. Oftentimes I'll just set the cap over here. Let's see if it rolls away. Not too bad. No, my desk is notoriously slightly uneven, but it didn't roll off too far, so that's kind of nice. As far as weights go, when it is uncapped in writing mode, it is 0.5 ounces, so it's half an ounce, and that's with ink in it, so that's not bad at all. When you put the cap on, it's 0.6 ounces, so you're adding another 1/10 of an ounce. Not a big deal. It's not a very heavy pen. It doesn't have any clips or roll stops or anything like that, though, so do, you know, have a little caution when you put your cap down, or you might lose it. What else on this? Oh, diameters, of course. When you are looking at the cap, you're looking at 0.58 inches in diameter. The body is 0.54, so it's just a little bit smaller. And then the section here is 0.4 to 0.49 inches, which is actually right in my sweet spot of 10 to about 12.5 millimeters, from the very skinniest part to the widest part, which is right back here. So I think it's kind of the perfect widths and diameters for me. I like writing with this pen a whole lot. I've used it quite a lot over the last few months, and it's always been great. Do I have any quibbles about this pen? I mean, there's one quibble I have, and that is that sometimes when you go to unscrew the cap, you will unscrew the section from the body. It's not a big deal. Let's see if I can make it happen. Let's see. It doesn't happen all that often, but if you tighten the cap really tight, I got it. If you tighten the cap really tight, like give it some extra oomph, the section screws into the cap up here. And so if you screw it down really hard here, you can actually unscrew the section, as you can see there. Actually, it kind of did both, but you'll unscrew the section from the pen. If your pen is eyedropper, that could be an issue, but otherwise it's not that big a deal. The thing to do is just tighten this down a little bit extra. I think this is an Alumilite material, and that material is a little bit on the softer side, and so that means that sometimes you can give it a little bit extra oomph, and then you won't have a big problem with this. That doesn't happen that often, but it does happen, so something to warn you about. There's also a little purple rim down here at the bottom of my cap, and that's just about the material and the super dark purple ink that I put in there. I must have gotten like a little bit around the edge of the cap there at some point. Will it clean off? Probably, but if not, I mean, that's what I get for putting really violently purple ink in a pen with white material. But it's not going to bother me. I don't really care. It's fine. But it's not like the pen leaked or anything. It's just a little bit ink around the edge. So yeah, I like this pen quite a lot. It's comfortable. It fits in your pocket nicely. It fits in your hand nicely. It's good to write with for long periods. Let's look at it next to a bunch of other pens, and then we'll do a writing sample. Okay, so here it is next to a whole bunch of other pens. Up here we have the TWSBI Eco. This is the slate blue and onyx. Then we have a Franklin-Christoph 46. This is the 46 core, the newest 46. Then we have the Second Empire, which is a little bit longer than the 46 there. This is a Franklin-Christoph number 31. Then we have the Tom Studio Lumos, the Lamy Safari, and the Diplomat Arrow. It's not a pilot at all. And you can see that the Second Empire is right in there among like totally normal pen lengths. Let me take off some caps and I'll show them to you that way. Okay, so there's all these pens with the cap off, and as you can see, just like with the caps on, this pen is a very like nominal length. It's very normal, and it's kind of what you would expect out of a full-sized fountain pen of this kind. So yeah, perfectly normal length, good looking pen, writes nice, and the price is excellent on this one. This is just some scratch paper that I keep at my desk. It's just some it's mostly just printer paper that I use. As the other half of this was a shipping label or something like that. So let's see how this goes. It's just regular printer paper, so 20-pound, 30% recycled copy paper mostly, like I use for a lot of my my writing tests on the channel. Let's see how this goes. I have been waving this around for a long time, and also I haven't used this for several days just because I want to see how it works. So let's see what we got here. Oh, all right, there we go. That's pretty good, actually. I thought this was going to lock up. You can actually see a lot of sheen right there. This is an ink called, it's from Colorverse. Oh, I just run out of ink? Oh no, I ran out of ink. Ah, I thought I had more ink than that. I knew I was probably getting close. Oh, I just ran out of... How that's wild that happened on camera. So this is Colorverse and True Phase Beam Me Up, which is a very dark, very sheeny purple. And I just ran out of ink. Ah, darn it. I was just going to review that ink too. That happens to me every time. Now I'm going to refill it and I'm going to put off the review on that ink. Oh man. So usually it writes really well until it just straight up runs out of ink. Oh man. But anyway, it writes really nicely. This is just a regular... This is a medium nib. What did I get on here? Oh, so silly. Yeah, it's a medium nib. It'll say the nib size right there on the side. So yeah, just a regular medium nib. This is amazing. So that's what happens when your fountain pen runs out of ink mid review. You just go like, well, I guess that's what we got here. But it does write very nicely. It is of course extra smooth. But my wife does the nibs over there, and I am not shocked that she is great at doing nibs. So that's pretty rad. Man, good stuff. Yeah. But it writes well until it runs entirely out of ink on camera when you're showing it off. So yeah, I really like the Piper Trading Co. Second Empire. I think it's really good. I think at this price point, this is a pen that you can get several of. In fact, there are a couple of them right now on the site that I'm like, ooh, do I need a Midnight Sea? That's kind of like a, I don't know, tan and blue sort of material. It comes in, of course, Papillon, which is a very fancy material, Sunset Blush, Tropical Dance, which is a swirly purple. So many good colors. I want a brand new sea glass green that I forgot about. All kinds of great stuff. So go over there to pipertradingco.com. Link down there in the description, of course. Tell them I said hi. And, maybe grab yourself one of these. Maybe it'll be your first pen from a small maker because you're just kind of like, I don't know if I want to cross that $100 threshold. I get it. That's a tough threshold to cross. I did it. I did it a long time ago, but also I've been in fountain pens for a very long time, and it took myself quite a while to be like, yeah, I can pay a bit more, or I'll save up and get this pen that's made by a small maker, so I can support like a small company who's making stuff locally in house in say Raleigh, North Carolina. And I think this is a worthwhile thing to go for, maybe for that, or even if you're like deep into fountain pens. This is a very nice one. So there you go. That's the Piper trading code, Second Empire, $95 on their website. They sell direct. It's not going to be in other stores. So just go right there. I don't have any discount codes or anything for you. If they're going to do a discount, it's going to be theirs. They don't really offer them to anybody else. So, go over there, grab a pen. Let me know what you think about this one down in the description. If you already have one of these, tell me what finish you got. I want to know what you have and how you've been liking it, because I quite like this pen. All right, that's it. And until next time, think about what you put out in the world and make it a better place. Peace out, y'all.